Bucks. Oh, big elbow of DC! Oh my God, Daniel Cormier just knocked out Steve Miocic! Steve Miocic is completely unconscious! The referee is picking him up! Daniel Cormier is the heavyweight champion of the world! Are you fucking kidding me?
MMA with friends, yeah. MMA with friends, we punching with the wind. You gotta understand, we floating like a bee and stinging like Ali. You understand this ring, get knocked out in them things. We undefeated, we the champs of the world. We really taking over, not worried about no girls. And you can understand how it really gotta be. And when we kick that fist in, you gon' really see, huh? Hey, put your heart and your soul in this game. When you step in this ring, don't be a lame. Everybody destined for clout, mad fame. I don't understand, but we boxing in the rain. Boxing in the rain, knocking in the field. Yeah, I got that Snoop flow, I gotta stay ill. Everybody thinking about everything else, but when we in this ring, you gon' beg for some help. Cause I MMA with friends, we did it all again. We back in this game, we back just to win. We came to take over, got a kick-ass theme song on the way for show. A kick-ass game, and we really got the flow. Yeah, we boxing out. If you understand, then you know just what I'm talking about. And we not trying to lose, trying to really win. MMA with friends, yeah, we did that shit again. And yeah, I'm back like I never left. And I'm back cause I don't need no book off of stuff to tell me where I'm really, really at. MMA with friends, that's how I act.
Oh my God, Marlon! It's all over! Whoa! Package! Marlon! Man, like, you got knocked the fuck out! Bucks. Oh, big elbow of DC! Oh my God, Daniel Cormier just knocked out Steve Miocic! Steve Miocic is completely unconscious! The referee is picking him up! Daniel Cormier is the heavyweight champion of the world! Are you fucking kidding me?
MMA with friends, yeah. MMA with friends, we punching with the wind. You gotta understand, we floating like a bee and stinging like Ali. You understand this ring, get knocked out in them things. We undefeated, we the champs of the world. We really taking.
What is going on, everyone? Micah Fights with Friends, MMA with Friends. Big news in the MMA world. Not exactly the kind we like to be hearing, but not so surprising from the nefarious one, the notorious one. This guy just can't stay out of trouble. What's going on, Third Eye Trader? Actually, that's like one of the widest things you will ever see be done to a rap song, but I try. What's up, Stick One? Torrin Brown is doing everything but fight. About sick of Conor McGregor at this point. How ridiculous is this? How ridiculous is this, Torrin? So he comes out on social media in the last week. He challenges Frankie Edgar. Frankie Edgar says, I'm up for that match. Dana White says, pick on somebody your own size, basically. He says, there's too big of a weight difference between you guys. I'm not making that fight. Then a couple days ago, Dana White said, Conor McGregor is not the man anymore. Conor really didn't like that. I had, some beef to say with, about Khabib. And Conor McGregor, Khabib responded back to him, said a few things, and Conor says, I'll see you in Russia. And Khabib says, we don't allow rapists in Russia. You're not getting a visa. And I was like, whoa, that is hardcore. I mean, it may be low-hanging fruit, but, if you don't want people to do that to you, I guess don't put yourself in situations where you have these kinds of allegations against you. Now, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. But as we know, when it comes to the Cosby case, some of these other cases, that the more of these accusations that start to come up, the more likely that they're true. I mean, I don't think it takes a brain surgeon to figure that out. And PBR Street Gang with the donation. Dude, you are like single-handedly funding this channel lately. PBR Street Gang has just been on fire. Also happens to be my first patron over there on Patreon. And I've decided what I'm going to do over there on Patreon. I hadn't actually been doing anything extra. And I'll throw that idea by you guys here in a little while. I think it's something that people want, but we'll see. Khabib will own him every fight. That's the truth, Frank. It's obviously a really bad style matchup for Conor McGregor. He was thinking he was going to fight Frankie Edgar, which I think that is a bad stylistic matchup for Frankie Edgar, but we don't know how good Conor McGregor is at this point. But Khabib Nurmagomedov says you're not getting a visa in Russia. You can't come to Russia. We don't allow rapists. So when we've all known about, the allegations that there was a sexual assault allegation over there in Ireland, and this was about a year ago, and right afterwards, or right before, I believe, Conor McGregor supposedly announced his retirement. And now he's been back in social media challenging everybody and anybody. And then yesterday morning, what's up? Thank you, Anthony Mahoney. I appreciate it. My man Hossa Flames wrote that for the channel. I'm glad you like it. But let's go to the article at hand. MMAfighting.com had this article up. And let's just put it over here in the corner. Let me know if you guys can read this. But here we go. Report: Conor McGregor facing second sexual assault investigation. Actually, let's make that a little bigger so everybody can see it, because I don't think you can see that. I don't think everybody can anyways. So let's just put it on the full screen. That way I can read. All right. I mean, follow along. This is yesterday morning. Yesterday. New York Times is reporting that Conor McGregor is under investigation because of sexual assault allegations for the second time in less than a year. According to the report, the most recent allegation relates to a complaint that a woman in her 20s was sexually assaulted in a vehicle parked outside a Dublin pub last week. According to the people who spoke on condition of anonymity because of Irish laws surrounding investigations. This has been an issue over all the allegations against Conor McGregor in Ireland, because for some reason they protect public figures over there that have investigations against him. I don't understand this, but maybe there's a reason for the law. McGregor has not been charged in this or the previous case alleging sexual assault in Dublin last December. As common practice in Ireland, McGregor was arrested and questioned for the December allegation, but released without any formal complaint filed as of yet. He has not been arrested or questioned about the recent allegation, according to the Times report. He better stay in Ireland, because over here, you better believe that some people would want to be talking to him. Conor McGregor is frequently the subject of rumors, a publicist for McGregor told The Times in an emailed statement. He emphatically denies any report of accusing him of sexual assault. McGregor hasn't fought since losing to lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov at UFC 229. You guys know all of this. So let's get back to this. But thoughts. Second time, this guy, I mean, it's not like he has been a choir boy outside of this. I mean, this kind of all started with the bus incident, which a lot of people, tried to say, oh, the UFC was involved in that and things. And I thought they were at first too. And then I was talking to the guy that actually owned the films, does MMA documentaries. And he was stupid enough. Well, I shouldn't say stupid enough. He's a great guy. He was nice enough to give the footage to the UFC, not knowing that they were going to use that for a promo to continually run it over and over and over again. But he actually owns that footage. He just gave the UFC rights to use it. So, what's up, Wyatt Matheson? I'm feeling I'll find a way to lose in fantasy. I seen your message. I was about to respond. That's great. I don't think Khabib's comment is low-hanging fruit. When Conor called Khabib's, this is true. No, and I defended it. Like I'm saying, if you want to call it low-hanging fruit, if you want to say, you shouldn't say things like that, don't get yourself in these situations where you're facing those kinds of allegations. And we have these two sexual allegations that we know of because these are so private over there in Ireland. You had the bus incident it all started out with. Then you had him smashing a guy's phone, which I do believe that one was overblown because of who he was, because his temper, because it came too much not after the bus incident. And I look out there and I see a guy in the music world that I have a lot of respect for, that I like, Tom Morello, guitarist for Rage Against the Machine. We're actually going to see him next month. He's going to be here in Seattle. But he had a fan jump on stage. He did warn fans. He said, if anybody, go ahead and come up here on stage. But if you take your camera out, I'm going to smash it. And I don't think anybody took that seriously. So some guy takes his camera out, jumps up and, basically puts his arm around Tom Morello to take a selfie. He throws the guy's camera down and smashes it. He didn't pay for it, didn't do anything as far as I know. And nobody really cared about that. But then he assaults the guy in the bar. And the bar assault was in between rape allegations. So I think that might not be updated, Dean. But thank you. Yes, 19 watching. I wish I had some MMA. I wish we were watching some MMA now. A lot of people coming in here quickly. Now, yes, everybody hit the thumbs up button. Thank you. But jumped in ring and swung at ref in Bellator. Oh, yeah. Let's not forget about that. There's been... I completely forgot about that, actually. And how bad is that when he's done so many things? It's like, oh, yeah. He also jumped in a ring and swung at a ref. And, yeah, we forgot about that. Well, thank you, CJ Smith. I appreciate it. I just groomed it last night. Yeah, that is just crazy. Jumped into the ring, though. He wants Frankie because it's the easiest fight by far. Well, he's trying to sell the Frankie fight as, hey, I need to get in there with a wrestler. I need to get in there with somebody that's similar to Khabib's style. This is a good warm-up match. And, I mean, that's not the worst sell in the world. But you got a 155-pounder, a guy who really walks around probably around 170, going against a guy that's really 135-pounder. Frankie walks around at 150. He should have never fought at 145 to begin with. So you literally have 2 weight class difference there. And I mean, yeah, I agree with Dana on that one. For pick on somebody your own size. Jesus. Free Orange, LA, Connor. Yep, exactly. Right on, Wyatt. Don't forget Frankie was 155 champ. He did fight at 155, but the guy, was he 155 champ? I thought that was one of... He was 55, but he's way smaller now. Okay. I was thinking he was only 145 champ. I seen somebody said that the other day. I guess I'd forgot about that. But, yeah, this guy just cannot keep himself out of trouble. I mean, most of you guys, I don't even think want to see him inside of a cage anymore. And let's talk a little more MMA. We'll get away from Conor for a second. I want to wrap up. I did not do a bare knuckle boxing last night. Anybody watch that? Gabriel Gonzaga versus Bigfoot Silva. I know Billy was watching it. I know Comedic Genius came on and said, why aren't you streaming? But never been 140, but 155 back when he used to cut 3 pounds the morning. Oh, okay. I guess I had to wait. He just always seemed so small. I guess I lost a weight class in there somewhere, Wyatt. But was there a 145 pound weight class then? I don't even remember. To be honest, but let's go to bare knuckle boxing for just a minute though. Anybody who watched that last night, I mean, Gabriel Gonzaga jumped in there against Antonio Bigfoot Silva.
Just land punches. Huge overhand right, then the left, a big.
And we actually have a little bit that I can share on here. Courtesy of Fight TV and Bare Knuckle FC. Let's just watch the end of this match real quick. I'm gonna bring this up and because it's already posted on Twitter. And
land punches. Huge overhand right, then the left, a big left hand. Gonzaga looking to finish here in round number 2. Ferocious uppercut. Oh, wow. Down goes Silva.
Just big uppercuts and hooks. Let's watch that one more time.
Just land punches. Huge overhand right, then the left, a big left hand. Gonzaga looking to finish here in round number 2. Ferocious uppercut. Down goes Silva.
Antonio Bigfoot Silva, I believe he's lost his last 6 fights. Or 5 out of his last 6. I mean, it's not gone well for Antonio Bigfoot Silva as of recently. He lost his last fights in the UFC. Lost that rematch with Mark Hunt coming out. And then ended up losing to Alexander Emelianenko, Fedor's lesser-known brother, over there in M1 Global. Lost a street fight. Got knocked out in a street fight somewhere. Pretty sure that wasn't even on his record. But, yeah, it would have been... would have been Aldo. I got you. Yeah. What's up, Tone? Who can McGregor not beat now if he returns? Almost nobody. Well, guy's 20 pounds smaller than him. Maybe. What's up, CJ Smith? But, yeah, and I thought the biggest thing was, though, and finally, I think it was overdue, and I'm pretty sure Dana probably had a good idea of what was coming down the pipe, that he came out and said, Conor McGregor is not the man anymore. And, I mean... How much clearer can you say it? The rest of us have known that. We, as Nate Diaz would say, we've been knowing that. You've been knowing that. All you guys knew he wasn't the man anymore. And but somebody said something about I missed in the comments earlier. CJ Smith said, "Don't forget about Masvidal, huge star." Oh, you're just saying that he's the biggest star out there. He may be. If he beats Nate Diaz, I think Jorge Masvidal is the biggest star in the UFC. I had a lot of people saying that 5-second knockout, that he's being overrated because of that. Well, that comes after he whacks Darren Till. You know, don't forget about that. A guy that Tyron Woodley couldn't knock out. He submitted him, but Tyron Woodley, you know, he hit him a lot. And Israel and Adesanya definitely coming around. Definitely coming around. I would say Israel Adesanya. I don't know if Israel Adesanya is yet a star, but I think he will be. Masvidal versus Diaz card. Oh, that's going to be like the greatest card ever. I mean, I don't know if it's the greatest card ever. On paper, it's pretty damn good. And what a way to end out the year. I mean, that card is insanely stacked. And then the card afterwards, you have 3 title fights. I mean, how much more spoiled could we be? You know, Merry frickin' Christmas. There's a lot of great fights on both of those cards. And just to throw it out here real quick, guys, over on Mike Sports Experience, I will be doing a live Seahawks versus Ravens. I will be doing a live reaction to that. I see Ordinary Pete. Ordinary Pete has already been over there and commented. Thank you, Ordinary Pete. And Dave says, my Ravens got this, Mike. Giants coordinator is a bum. I seen that Extraordinary Pete over there. But yeah, if you're not already signed up for Mike Sports Experience, let me get that link in here. Sorry, guys, I got too many windows open. And JJ Smith over there too as well. And that'll be starting at 1:20. I'll be live over on the other channel. So this was all just kind of a shameless plug to get you guys over there to watch the football game. No, I'm just kidding. This was big news though. For those of you that are just coming in, Conor McGregor is facing his second sexual assault allegation in less than a year. This according to the New York Times as of yesterday. This is a new allegation from Ireland. Hawks and Ravens, my 2 favorite teams. Got to go Hawks, though. I love it. Return all. Oh, yeah. What about Earl Thomas coming back to Seattle? I was always a big Earl Thomas fan. But I didn't exactly like the way that he left Seattle. I really didn't. I was actually pretty upset about that. And I'm bringing up the bare knuckle results from last night right now. I'll let you know here in a minute. I actually didn't watch a lot of it. For you guys that want to watch the prelims for that though, Bare Knuckle FC on their YouTube channel, just type in Bare Knuckle FC later, they actually put the prelims for free online. So very cool of them, and a great freaking idea if you want people to, you know, sign up to buy your pay-per-view. That's a good way. That's a good advertisement, a good way to let them know that it's happening. So, and sorry, I'm trying to get results to last night's bare knuckle. Here we go. And not updated. All right, guys. I'm sorry. I should have had this ready. All right, I showed the Bigfoot versus Gabriel Gonzaga knockout here a minute ago. That was at a minute 50 seconds of round 2. Then you had Jim Ehlers defeated Julian Lane via TKO round 2, 53 seconds. Dat Nguyen, or Win, I believe it's pronounced, defeated Travis Thomas. 11-second knockout in round 2. Abdel Velasquez versus Rick Caruso. No other real big names from the world of boxing or MMA that I recognize. But Gonzaga looked very good. I would like to see Gonzaga back in there again for sure. Conor can still beat top 5 lightweights, like all top 5, or there's somebody in the top 5 that he can beat. Yeah, Earl is definitely an animal. Some bad blood there for reasons I'm unaware of. I'm unaware of it as well. Earl Thomas, he didn't really say why he wanted out of there. And the first I heard of it was, I believe, when we were playing the Cowboys. It was one of the Texas teams. Earl Thomas started volleying for a trade basically right in the middle of a game to the owner. One of the strangest things I've ever seen. That was absolutely insane. But yeah, 30 minutes, 32 minutes will be over on Mike Sports Experience. And if you're subscribed over there, and Seahawks and Ravens. If you're not subscribed over there, make sure you do. He also got hurt and figured the Hawks team when they carted him off. Really? I remember him getting hurt. He was flipping him off? I didn't even realize that he was high-fiving the other team. I knew he was having issues. I knew that he had volleyed for a trade. That's insane, though. Let's be real, though. Russell Wilson is the Seahawks. If they don't have him, they would be. They would be. And if you look on NFL.com, you can see Russell Wilson is now rated as the number 1 quarterback in the NFL. At least for now. Who knows how long that will last. But let's head back to MMA for a minute. Don't remember that, but Russell can be MVP. Usman or Covington? I got Usman on that one. I think he hits harder. I think his wrestling's a little better. I think Covington's very busy. It's going to kind of depend on the refereeing, on the judging, actually, in that fight, I think, because I don't see one of those guys being finished. Neither guys is really a big finisher, and neither guy is easy to finish, for sure. So I see that one going on 5, and it depends on if the judges, I guess, care how hard you hit people. As you look at a fight, you look like Max Holloway versus Diamond Dustin Poirier. You can look at the stats, and you can see that Max Holloway landed just as many strikes as Dustin Poirier. But the tiebreaker for me in that one was that Dustin landed the harder shots. We had Max hurt early. Really believe Usman will control the wrestling. Usman versus Colby, the EPO Battle Royale. Oh, that's hilarious. I don't like that that's the main event. That's just me personally. I think it should be Max Holloway Max Holloway versus Alexander Volkanovski, but I can see why it is Usman versus Covington, just because those guys, they talk so much smack. They're, even if it's cringe smack talking, they are trying to build the fight. And, I guess props for that. I don't really care for, manufactured smack talking, which I believe is totally what that is. But there you go. Gotta be kidding there. The main event, overblessed. Yeah, exactly. Askren or Maia? I got Askren. I just think he's got a lot of ways. Or excuse me, Maia. I think he's got a lot of ways to beat Askren. I think he could knock him out on the feet. He could submit him if Askren takes him down. I think it does help Askren that it is a 3-round fight outside of a 5, though. He might be able to hold Damian Maia down for 3 rounds. It's definitely not going to be an easy fight for either guy. Just because Masvidal got that knockout over Askren, everybody's, kind of down on Askren. He's only lost once in his career. DC or Stipe? Oh, Stipe all the way, my friend. Of course. Of course it's Stipe. Askren versus Maia should be on a mat and not a cage. That's a good point, Frank. Even Dana regretted not putting Yair versus Steven as their main event over Reyes and Weidman. Yeah, I thought it was weird. I thought it was not the best decision. For him, I don't know how people liked that. I think a lot of the casuals, I think they just like to see a knockout. And they got to see the knockout, so they're like, hey, cool. Weidman got blasted. And that's what a lot of these guys came to see, of course. Being in the Boise, Idaho crowd, I don't know if I would say those guys are casuals. There's a lot of drunk cowboys. But, they were booing when guys are wrestling, booing when guys are going for submissions. And they just wanted to see striking. They have this local MMA event where they just basically throw a bunch of strikers in there. It's basically, stand-up kickboxing. And that's what they like. I don't know if UFC's for them. There's a few places that are like that. And the casuals, I think sometimes don't even really know what they want to watch. But I don't think it's Askren versus Maia. Logan Paul or KSI. I know very little about either one of them. I know they're both YouTubers, and I know that they turned pro. I know they fought once. I haven't even watched the first fight, to be honest. And I don't know how each guy's training. I know the first fight was supposedly a draw. Maia by sub. 5. Oh, that's right. It is 5 rounds. So I think Maia does take it. I don't know why I was thinking it was 5. I think Maia takes it either by knockout or submission. I think he definitely has a good chance at finishing Askren, though. What's up, Bo Archer? How's it going? Plus, Steven's a 5-round fighter. He gets better as the fight goes deep into the later end. And I think Jeremy Stephens would have won that fight. I think there's a good chance he wins that fight. But does Yair Rodriguez come out fighting the same way if it's a 5-round fight? You have to look at that both ways as well. And by the way, I made that fight a draw. I gave Yair the first 2 rounds. I gave round 3 10-8 to Jeremy Stephens. I think it's maybe the 3rd or 4th draw that I've ever judged in the entire time I've been doing this. But I did make that fight a draw. Yep, Maia lights him up on the feet. I would love to see if Maia knock him out. And I like Ben Askren. I like his Twitter. I would love to see him do a podcast. I love him on the mic. He's not a fun guy to watch fight, though. You go back, at least for me it's a no dog. To quote American Idol. And the guy's just not exciting for me. Now, if you want to watch if you just like to watch wrestling and guys that can't strike at all, I like all the facets of the game. I definitely like striking, and if you can't strike at all, that's a tough one for me. Unless you're Hoist Gracie, or you're Kazushi Sakuraba, and those guys, they did learn to strike some. They were entertaining. They did a lot of entertaining things. Very little that Ben Askren does inside of the cage is entertaining. It's outside of the cage. So put him on a mic, make him a after fight interviewer like Michael Bisping. I would love to see that. I think he would be absolutely hilarious. That body kick though was nasty. He said, "Oh yeah, it was Yair was on fire coming out of there. In those first 2 rounds, he would have put a lot of guys away. Jeremy Stephens had a lot of will. He's tough as hell, and I don't know that Yair made the wrong decision coming into that. Because like I said, I think he should have been able to finish the guy. But Jeremy Stephens, he just had that will. And I think there's something about when you're so determined and you're so emotional, and especially a guy like Jeremy Stephens, it's a pretty damn emotional guy anyways. I think that you tell your body, hey, this is what we're going to fucking do. Excuse my language, but he's like, you're so pumped up. I think it's very hard to finish a guy like that. It's very hard to land the knockout blow. It's very hard to land the submission. A guy that his brain is fighting it so hard. It's resisting so hard. Could have came out with a different game plan and have been a 5-round fight. You got I got Maya. Who do you think Francis should fight next since DC and Stipe aren't available? That's a really good question. If I'm Francis, I seen him. He was on, I believe it was Ariel Helwani. I think it was on UFC Unfiltered with Matt Serra as well. But he talked about how, he doesn't, it depends on when DC and Stipe fight. That, he says the UFC knows that he's not going to take a year and a half off without fighting. He's like, they know that, and they know they're going to get me. But, I don't really know who else is a challenge for him. I mean, that heavyweight division is pretty damn weak. Especially if you're going to take somebody that is heavyweight. If Rumble Johnson wants to jump right in there and take that big of a risk right away, I think that's a great fight. I don't think he's ready for that, though. I want to see that fight, just not right now. I think Rumble would be ill-advised to jump into that fight. I think he would serve himself well to take a couple fights against the guys that, are right there, top 6, 7, 8. And saying that in that division is pretty shallow. But a guy that's coming off of his suspension here soon and says he wants to be a world champion again is Fabricio Verdum. I think a matchup between Fabricio Verdum and Francis Ngannou, that could be very interesting. Because Verdum doesn't just strike. He's got the sickest submissions probably of any heavyweight ever. But he doesn't just strike. He does a lot of things. I don't think Fabricio would take him. But I think it would be a good experience for Ngannou. Too many well-rounded guys. I hear you. How about if JJ goes to heavyweight? If he goes to heavyweight now, I think Ngannou's too big. I think Ngannou's just too big. He might be too big for DC. He might even be too big for Stipe again in a rematch. He's a big guy. I mean, he's a super heavyweight because we've never had a guy that's 250, 260 pounds without cutting. Except for Brock Lesnar. And Brock Lesnar was just a different kind of animal. He didn't have the power that Francis Ngannou had. he wasn't a natural striker. He wasn't even a trained striker. I mean, Brock Lesnar would close his eyes when he got hit. Great wrestler. But I think Ngannou is a one of a kind. Rumble's only lost to DC at heavyweight. Rumble's too fast for Francis. Rumble left the UFC ranked number 1. But he's been gone for a long time, Bo. That's why I said I want to see that fight, but I just don't want to see it yet. I would like to see Rumble get in there, get a little bit of the ring rust out, see how he looks. See how he looks maybe against Fabricio Verdum. You know, I think that's a good matchup for him too. I think he probably out-wrestles Fabricio, stay away from the submissions, outstrikes him, maybe gets a late finish. There's a couple more guys. Both of them could fight. Blago Ivanov sitting out there. He's a good, he's a good throw-in. Junior Dos Santos, Francis has already fought. Wouldn't be a bad fight for Rumble Johnson, though. I would rank them similarly right now. If I was going to rank the heavyweight division, I would have, Rumble and JDS probably right next to each other. But Fabricio would die, says Bo. He really would. Excuse me. All right, I think the general consensus so far is Fabricio would die if he faces Francis Ngannou or Anthony Rumble Johnson, maybe. All right, guys. I am going to head over to Mike's Sports Experience for the Seahawks game. Kaboom. If you guys want to watch the Seahawks versus Ravens reaction over there, I don't put it up here because it's non-MMA, but I'll be started streaming over there in 8 minutes at 1:20. So I'm going to need to cut this and get over there, get my picture and everything up. It is already scheduled. If you're subscribed, you've probably already gotten a notification for it. Destino, that's why I've kept this channel MMA and boxing. Which, by the way, just to touch on boxing real quick, big fights coming up. Canelo Alvarez, about to lose. I think he's going to lose that move up to light heavyweight. The fight I'm looking forward to more, though, is Deontay Wilder versus Luis Ortiz 2. And that one's been set now for November 23rd. Tone says the Colts win. Thank you, Bo. I appreciate it. All right, for those of you that would like to see 22 guys basically have MMA on a field with helmets on, I'll be switching over to Mike Sports Experience. Theron Nelson in the house. What's up, Theron? Hey, see me over on Mike Sports Experience there, and I'm going to throw the link up there one more time. And guys, as always, I love you. I respect you. And I'll see your fine asses later.